What if every human sneezed at the same time? This is one of those questions that feels silly until you start running the numbers. Sneezing is a powerful event. It involves a sudden blast of air moving at speeds up to 100 miles per hour, accompanied by a mist of microscopic droplets, a sharp noise, and a wide variety of awkward social consequences. But what would happen if everyone, literally everyone, on Earth sneezed at once? First, let's talk physics. A typical sneeze expels about a liter of air. Multiply that by 8 billion people, and you get 8 billion liters of sneeze. That sounds like a lot, but in atmospheric terms, it's tiny. The Earth's atmosphere contains around 5 quintillion liters of air. Compared to that, 8 billion liters is like a teaspoon in an Olympic swimming pool. So if you're imagining a mighty hurricane of synchronized sneezes tearing across the planet, I'm afraid the atmosphere will barely notice. However, the local effects are more interesting. Each sneeze generates a sharp sound, about 90 decibels at close range. If every human sneezed simultaneously, the collective sound would be immense. Standing anywhere near the center of human population density, say northern India, you'd hear a deafening roar louder than a jet engine. On the global scale, though, the sound would dissipate quickly. The noise might register faintly on seismographs, but it wouldn't crack windows. It would just be remembered as the loudest, most awkward 2 seconds in history. The real problems begin immediately afterward. Synchronized sneezing is messy. Each sneeze can project thousands of droplets, many of which contain viruses or bacteria. On a normal day, this is just a mild social hazard. But when 8 billion people sneeze together, the number of expelled droplets is astronomical. The air would temporarily be filled with a global cloud of microscopic mist. If you were outdoors, you might actually see it as a haze drifting in the sunlight. Unfortunately, you'd also be standing inside the largest germ-sharing event in history. Even if only 1% of the population had a cold or the flu at the time, the synchronized sneeze would aerosolize enough pathogens to give most of humanity a very bad week. Now consider the logistics. To get everyone synchronized, we'd need an exact countdown. Imagine billions of people across every time zone staring at their phones, waiting for the signal. At the strike of noon UTC, noses flare, tissues unfold, and the Earth trembles with a single unified achoo! The aftermath is chaos. Phones already strained by billions of people receiving the same notification collapse under the load. Entire networks crash. Text messages of "bless you" clog up servers for hours. Outside of communication networks, daily life halts. Surgeons in operating rooms sneeze into open body cavities. Drivers on highways sneeze into windshields briefly blinded, and thousands of cars veer off course. Airplane pilots sneeze into their controls, though the autopilot manages better than most humans. Bakers sneeze into dough. Astronauts sneeze into microgravity, filling the cabin with floating droplets that will take hours to clean. For a few minutes, society as we know it is paralyzed by mucus. Then there's the social awkwardness. Humans are used to sneezing being isolated, something that happens to one person at a time. When everyone sneezes at once, nobody is available to say, "bless you." The polite ritual collapses. People look around, embarrassed, unsure of what to do next. Some laugh nervously. Others reach for tissues only to find they are all sold out, because 8 billion people using tissues at once instantly empties every warehouse on the planet. Toilet paper follows soon after. Meanwhile, in hospitals, doctors brace for what they know is coming: a spike in respiratory illnesses. The Great Sneeze, as historians will later call it, seeds infections globally within seconds. Within weeks, the synchronized sneeze has triggered the fastest-spreading cold epidemic in history. Ironically, the only people safe are those few thousand living on remote islands or submarines who didn't get the memo in time. The cultural impact is even stranger. For generations afterward, Children ask their grandparents where they were during the sneeze. Artists paint murals of a planet wrapped in a shimmering mist. Poets write sonnets about the universal bond of shared mucus. Conspiracy theorists argue that the event was a government experiment in biological warfare. None of them are entirely wrong. And what about the Earth itself? Does it notice? The combined force of 8 billion sneezes pushes a large volume of air in random directions. But because sneezes are uncoordinated, some sneeze forward, some downward, some into the elbows, the net momentum cancels out. The Earth's orbit, rotation, and axial tilt remain completely unchanged. Our planet spins on, indifferent to the fact that its dominant species just sprayed itself with germs on a scale never before seen. So, what would happen if every human sneezed at the same time? The short answer is the world wouldn't move, but civilization might wobble a little. Infrastructure would hiccup, infection rates would skyrocket, and humanity would experience a few very sticky days. But eventually, things would return to normal. Except, perhaps for one thing, we'd never look at sneezing the same way again. Note to future civilizations, if you ever get the chance to synchronize a bodily function across the entire population, maybe start with a wave